And I would also say that, I don't think that he's read his dissertation from Schofield. Well, keep in mind, he only had one person on his advisory committee, one, for a dissertation, for a doctoral dissertation.
Wow.
And the dissertation is loaded with far right wing, anti LGBTQ, anti Islamic. His name is Ali Rashad, right? But it's got a lot of anti Islamic stuff in there. So I think, and I can't prove it, but I'll just say it. I think that the owner of that, Kenny Rhodes, wrote that. But
Wow.
either that or he's got far more right wing leaning. Just one thing on the Schofield thing, his PhD that he claimed from Schofield, he's pulled it down now. It's not on his LinkedIn resume anymore.
Really?
Now you explain that. Why would anybody post? And he's done this for about 5 or 6 degrees. He posts them up, we make fun of them, and then he yanks them off. So why would anybody ever pull a PhD off of their resume?
Yeah, because it's BS. And I've said it's BS, and he's threatened to sue everybody. But I'm like, all right, send me the paperwork. Don't send me the threat.
He's threatened to sue you?
He's threatened to sue anybody who's talked about this. So if he's suing, I'm all for it. That's the reason why I came out those videos and said explicitly, this is fraud. This is blah 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 blah. So if anything I said was untrue, he can send me the paperwork tomorrow, right? I put myself out there. So if he wants to send it, then he can send me the paperwork. But he's not going to send me the paperwork because he knows.
And he's threatened to sue me twice. His lawyer actually threatened to sue me in my comment section of my videos.
No. Really?
But see, the problem is that if he loses, he can now have to owe you fees and all that stuff. So it's over. It's over.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, and so the degree, the school, the supposed school, is not accredited anywhere really. So you're very justified to say that this is a fake PhD, and they keep it on that TYT website for who knows what reason. Now it's embarrassing, really.
So at the end of the day, do you believe? Because I sent you guys this question. Do you believe the Young Turks has independently verified these credentials and have said that these are real and we're going to keep them on?
Just to answer the question, whether you think that TYT has verified this, they don't want to verify this. They don't want to go there. I don't think they've verified it because they don't want to. They're just not interested in that. They're interested in the viewership that Rashad brings, and anything else just gets, tossed aside.
Yeah, because you think about it. If they put their hands in the cookie jar, right, now they're a part of it. They can just turn a blind eye, let Richey do Richey things and just say, hey, look, we trusted what this guy had to say. And when he's, his usefulness is ran up, they can replace him maybe with somebody that actually did the work. But for now, he's a useful pawn. So, hey.
But at the end, because there's especially with the liberal side, they're trying to say they're honest, they're giving people opportunities.
Moral.
But then to have something like this, like you have an employee who essentially that's faked their entire resume, and you're still holding them up. Don't get me wrong. I'm not advocating for the guy to get fired. I'm just advocating for his employer to take some responsibility and say, you know what, we made a mistake. But he's great at what he does, and we're going to keep him on the show. But we've had to change some of the things. I think that would probably be best because
no way.
It's got to be frustrating for you guys because you guys have been calling this out for years, and it's gotten really very light traction until recently. How did it feel for you guys to kind of be vindicated? Because right now I've got like over 1 million views on Rashad Richey doing all this crazy stuff. And obviously this is probably going to get like 50, 60,000 views. So how do you guys feel that now all of your hard work and research is now starting to come to light and now it's starting to expose the fraud, which is Rashad Richey?
Well, I've been at it for 5 years and I have about 5,000 subscribers. Okay. And keep in mind, I had 400 videos on Kyle and I had like 200 subscribers, right? So I was the biggest content publisher out there on Kyle during the trial and everything, and nobody was watching any of it. So, so I'm kind of used to it. I don't really care. I work full time. I've got money. It's not like I have to, constantly push out stuff to try to gain followers. In fact, I've said if I get 10,000, I'm a little bit worried. I have to be careful about that. So I'm not worried about it. What about you, fake PhD?
Yeah, so Rashad's really had it coming for a long time, right? We've exposed him. We know that he watches your videos, Johnny Walker Dread, right? So
Yeah,
he's watched your videos for years and made slight changes to his claims based on, what we've called him out on, or what you've called him out on. And so he's, but he's continued this ever since then. He's continued making additional claims, putting up fake news releases of his, supposed accomplishments. So he's really had it coming with getting called out on this publicly. He still has his job. So he's actually posted, I think on LinkedIn, was it LinkedIn or Facebook, that all those naysayers, I still got my job, everything's still good. He's essentially making fun of us because nothing has changed for him substantially.
Yeah, well, the problem is that we're going to keep ringing this bell, and the more we go, because I think the problem with this always is that you go to audience size, and if you have the smaller your audience, the smaller your reach. But now with Cam and myself, like I reach about 2.3 million people a month. So that kind of, and then the naysayers against TYT, like when you go to Politicon and all that stuff. Hey, you guys are here. You guys are in Truth Justice, but you're hiring a fraud and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So I think that's kind of how you get to them, because they're getting calls. And some of the documents that he showed that were obviously fake. It's like, just what are we doing here? But I want to ask you guys, all three of you guys, personally, I've gotten a lot of traction from his supporters. Why do you care? Why the evil white man doing the same thing too? Why don't you call them out? Which we do.
I mean, what's the ratio supposed to be?
But how do you feel about those people? Like, because I even had one in my video where guys like, I'm not going to do any research. I don't care. He's saying what I like to hear. How does that make you guys feel when you guys obviously have the absolute facts that this guy is a fraud? I'll start with you, Johnny.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, a lot of people do comment on, like, I seem like I pick on black guys, or black people a lot, but my thing is race hustling, and they're the ones that are pushing out the content on YouTube. So I basically I come across these videos and they're ridiculous, and so I push out content on them. And so, yeah, over time, and I get lots of comments about the fact that, I must be racist and I must be, bigoted or stuff. But let me just say this. HBCUs, the person who's doing the most damage to HBCUs is not me. It's Rashad Richey and his ilk, who are going out, pushing out all kinds of crazy. You should see this one demonstration of quantum coherence. And he did, I think it was at Morehouse State or Morgan State, that had the students holding hands and stuff. And he said, well, that's quantum coherence. And that's the kind of stuff that embarrasses these universities. It's not me, So I'm sorry, but the best way to control this is to put a stop to this kind of action.
Yeah. What about you, fake PhD?
Well, it's a free country. I mean, there's no law against just making up these claims. As there are some states where if you claim a fake degree and hold a public office, you're held accountable. But for this, anybody can believe what they want. I do have a question though for the people that really are, believing Rashad or are giving him a platform, like Piedmont Hospital Group in Atlanta, or the Carter Center from Jimmy Carter, right? That Carter Center. They give him a stage, and my question for them is this the best black guy that you can get, right? The Piedmont Hospital Group, they are, they're all white and they're in Atlanta. So yeah, maybe that's embarrassing you. You want to get a black guy on your board, but this is the guy that should represent that, really. I mean, that's laughable. You can't get somebody else that can do this, somebody actually educated and intelligent. Please.
I found out now. I don't really want to get you guys into political spheres with it, but I just can only say it from my experience, because I'm from New York. I went to extremely liberal school. It was all social justice and all that stuff. And at the school I went to, from law school, they had a program in which if you are black and you are a man, we're going to do everything possible to get you into law school. Damn what your GPA is, damn with anything. That's essentially what they did.
They'll give you money. DEI.
It's DEI, but this is before there was a name to it. It was more of affirmative action DEI type thing. So back then, what they were allowed to do was say, hey, we don't have enough black guys, so we want to have a more diverse class, so we want a next amount of black guys. So in my class, there were like 10 black men. out of 200 or 300 students. It was like 300 students, but like 10 black men. Now, some of the black kids, because I had I was above a 3 GPA, so I could get into any school I wanted to because my scores were high enough and my GPA was high enough.
Right.
But a lot of the other black kids that were in there, the black men that were in there, their GPAs were like 2.5, and these people were getting scholarships to go to this school. And the first semester, half of them failed out of law school. And it was kind of like, why they fail out? And I'm like, because number one, they didn't study. A lot of the guys I'm talking about didn't study. They went on vacation during the semester. Like it was like there was this. It was like because it was given to them, they didn't appreciate it. While someone like me was going through it and actually doing it.
Because you were a police officer at that time.
So what I found is that policy actually was hurting those people who were in law school, because if you fail out, you can't go to any other law school. Nobody's going to take you because you're a failure, or you got to go to some really shitty law school and have to pay top dollar. So it seems like on its face, Richey has gotten over this by just essentially just lying and just saying, hey, if I just pay to get this degree and do this, and it's almost like people are afraid to call it out because he is black.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, like with you two guys are racist. I'm a racist. He's a racist, just by calling out the fact that he's doing this. And I think at the end of the day, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, facts have to matter for something. And the fact that Rashad Richey is this monumental, huge fraud should mean something. And it's just sad, because I don't care what his politics are. This should matter.